Hello, I'm Josh Dixon, director of The Sage of Darkness.
And I'm Dan Hogan, writer of The Sage of Darkness, and I also played the role of Link, among other things.
So, the beginning of the movie, obviously. Main campus sanctuary of our church, EB Free Fullerton. Kind of explains why we got a lot of modern day objects in there.
Yeah, we just hoped nobody would notice.
Of course, when you blow this thing up on a giant movie theater screen, everyone's going to notice everything, so.
Including the jerky camera.
Of course.
There's Dan Hogan himself as the King of Hyrule,
Yes.
because nobody else was there.
One of the many characters that Dan Hogan plays, actually. There's a few scenes where Dan Hogan actually talks to himself. Not everybody caught it.
See, this scene right here, I wanted to make sure we put it in here because it would set the stage in terms of all the major characters. And if anybody had trouble with our movie, because I know it's not really a whole like Zelda in the first place, this would establish really quickly what they're watching and be a little interesting.
And without this scene, it's just a much more boring beginning. Like, we had no action set. It was just all kind of a slow start. And pretty much the movie, for the first 45 minutes, is hard to get through because it's rather boring. So we need to have something to really, make it start out really, really fast paced.
Good old John Darling, man. He is always willing to take a hit.
He was our stuntman, our one stuntman.
And there goes Trevor. I still don't know how he spun like that.
That's pretty good.
Natalie, who actually wasn't there when we filmed the rest of this.
Oh, really?
Me, Nick, and John were all moving furniture.
I totally forgot that.
And that was bad grammar.
Your beautiful.
Nice
organs.
Triforce, decorated for Easter.
Wonderful narration by Dan Hogan, also.
Yep.
Or Skull Kid, whichever.
Door hinge.
I personally love the shot.
Green screen.
Green screen. What's all around Dan right there are El Dorado High School students in my media class.
Yeah, basically the most awkward visit to a high school I've ever had. They couldn't decide whether I was Peter Pan or Robin Hood or Link, and then some guy actually wanted my autograph. It was kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's kind of. Here I originally put 7 stages. For some reason, I remember there being 7 stages, but looking back at the games, there was only 6, so I had to correct that.
Yep. By the way, I'm the Sage too.
Oh yeah.
This entire movie is almost spot Dan Hogan, win a prize. Here, I intentionally didn't get into much fighting just because that wasn't really the point of the scene. Some people were disappointed, but it would have taken too long to choreograph it with the time we had. And I figured, you know what, we just needed to establish the characters and whatnot.
We make up for it for better action scenes later anyway.
This scene was retroactively put in to the beginning so that we could establish the Book of Mudora really early. And the whole Sage of Light character, as a matter of fact, was even a sort of a way to fill some plot holes, but I'll get to that later during his scene. Yeah, that's our chapel.
That's near the end there.
Josh really liked this line.
Are doomed to repeat it. That is a very good line.
This was probably the most excellently written scene in the whole movie.
But
in fact, it is what sold Josh on my screenplay talents. Because he was like, oh man, Erdogan and Natalie are talking about politics. Isn't that great? But the delivery was a little...
That's kind of what ruined it, yeah. They did a good job for, this. I don't know if this is their first day. Or
I think it was their first day.
Somewhere around the first day. It wasn't Connor's first day. I think it was Natalie's first day.
It was pretty tough. By the way, it's actually light in here. I was the one who convinced Josh to dim the lights. It looks way better.
Yeah, originally we had kind of a golden, like I wanted to be inside the Hyrule Castle golden light, but you could, it didn't give much of a dark feel, and that's pretty much what we wanted. So the blue.
Good intro.
It really helps.
Watch his eyes. Perv.
Watch Skull Kid's mouth in this shot. You see some tongue there. Oh my gosh.
Cast a spell on all of them.
Oh boy.
If you only knew how much this scene was cut up to not necessarily part of the problem is these are long lines and they were pretty much reading off the script instead of
we're holding the script out of camera shot right now.
Yeah,
Connor's reading it.
So there were a lot of flubs and there wasn't a lot of time. So unfortunately, it ended up being sort of a what is this scene? Even though like it is, I think it does a good job of establishing the characters and the setting and all that.
Yeah, some people love the acting. I personally think it's crappy, but you know, we did the best we could.
The pacing's pretty good.
Yeah, pacing's good.
There is a lot of modern day stuff like the mailbox on the door and crap like that, but it's all right. I love how Skull Kid is just a sort of lingering presence here.
Yeah, the best part is what was her line? She says,
And she'll say it.
Yeah.
This was kind of strange.
Skull
Check Skull Kid rolling around in the background back
There's
there,
a camera battery charger.
under her chin.
And there on the left side is Josh Root's feet.
That was pretty stupid. I didn't even notice the camera.
Yeah.
Wow, how'd he get back there?
He just kind of appeared. He's a shadow in the night. I was afraid about what they were talking about in the scene would confuse people. But
I sort of knew it would confuse people, but they'd figure it out.
they'd figure it out. You're not supposed to really know, have all the answers right now. This is the very beginning. No, best part. Strange company which you keep. So good. This walks right by.
Money shot.
Comes Connor's favorite part.
I had to sell him on the slap.
That had to feel good.
We needed to establish that Erdogan, even though he's a little bit of a weasel, has some fortitude between his legs. I think this was a good transition.
Oh, and by the way, pretty much everything, all the scenes, the way they're cut, the way they're made, is inspired by the music used on it. So you'll notice the music really matches like every edit, every move.
Yeah, that's a good one to listen to. In fact, I really don't think this movie would have been anything without the music. Granted, thanks for several Academy Award winning composers, but in terms of the edit and the way the music brings the scene together, that was all Josh. And it really paid off. It would not really have been watchable without the music transitions.
Well, if we had called this movie, The Sage of Darkness with no Legend of Zelda and used our own music, we probably could have made some profit off of it, but
it wouldn't have been half the movie.
Wouldn't have been very good.
I don't know why my dad escaped the credit roll. Oh well.
He kind of escaped the beginning there. Yeah.
I think it's because we filmed this before my dad was a major part of the movie.
Yeah.
We started filming without a finished script, which is a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
And by a little bit, I mean a lot bit. This was my first day of filming as an actor. I had done sort of
this is
what,
that. Summer 2006?
Yeah, this is summer 2006, so this is one of the first scenes we shot. We shot it after I'd written maybe 20 pages of the script.
Blake does a great job.
Blake does do a good job.
Catch the script on the right side of the screen. And the curtains there.
This is one of my least favorite of my acting scenes, mainly just because I was so confused and busy that I really had no idea what I was saying.
I found it. Kyron.
The beef jerky looks like crap.
Yeah, the beef jerky was terrible.
This wagon, it was going down the road when it hit a bump. And a crate of food fell off, so I just picked it up.
Well, wherever you got it, it's no use taking it back now. Now it's got your bloody paws all over it. Let's get some first.
I love the chicken.
That chicken's dead.
Is that chicken dead?
Yeah, Coyote got it.
Oh, sucks.
We got more chickens now, but that is a clean cut
That was a clean cut. I love how I'm taking apart pieces of a broken fence, and I'm just making mincemeat out of them. The chores in this movie are a complete.
It's like, what can we
farce.
do to be taking up our time for today? Oh, let's chop some wood. Let's capture chickens. Hammer poles into the floor.
That are already hammered in.
They're already hammered in.
Let's randomly stroke the ground with a stick.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I love Brett's sweatpants.
Yeah, sweatpants. Eldorado sweatpants. Oh, and important to remember, this movie is brought to you by ADP National Account Services on that shirt right there.
Yeah. Product placement.
Hey, wait, who are those two idiots?
I said that twice, and it always bugs me. Oh dang.
Yeah, that was kind of a last minute idea there. Dan's idea. Makes Link a bit more of a
Who's
BA.
everything?
Do you ever pay attention at village meetings?
I don't go to village meetings. It's too boring.
This was shot like 6 months later because I saw his footage, and it was terrible. I said, "Are you serious? That was the best take?" This is yeah.
That might be more like this is like, you know, summer 2006.
That's winter 2007.
Winter, and then this is
I
like
remember.
winter 2007.
Or winter 2006.
2006. So yeah, less than a year, but
It was
What does
terrible.
that mean for us?
yeah, it was pretty bad.
Doesn't mean anything yet.
Notice that the leaves have regrown,
Yeah, they've
and
grown
my
a
hair
little
is
bit.
different.
Well, where do you think those two are going?
Looks like they're going over the mountains. I hope she'll be alright.
If you pay attention, like you can tell when we were filming based on where my hair was cut. I hated that freaking thing.
Connor's hair changes a lot. Too.
Yeah, Connor's hair changes a lot, but Link's is a little bit more noticeable.
Oh, this is first day of filming.
This was the first day of filming. Did you convince her?
No, she wouldn't go.
About halfway through this day, at first Michael was reading all his lines for himself, and we were going to dub him later or like alter his voice. But what we decided, just with me sitting there, is I ended up reading the lines because it was just too annoying, because Michael couldn't remember them, and you couldn't see his mouth anyway. So we sort of made this executive decision because the voice that I had come up for with Skull Kid, we decided it was good enough that we would just use my voiceover over Skull Kid, just because it sounded pretty good.
Wait, that wasn't our original idea, right?
It wasn't an original idea, but we
sort of
came up with it right here.
It just sort of happened. So some of the best decisions in this movie just kind of happened.
Yeah. This one is very dubbed.
Good old Trevor Harwell. Oh yeah, this is my voice. I'm talking for Trevor. Lowered a couple octaves.
A couple.
Maybe like 10.
I was like, dude, who put the goon on steroids?
What happened?
I can't get enough of that voice.
I know, neither can I, man.
The only thing that's more interesting than trying to figure out how many characters I play is how many noises I do.
That's true. Quite a few goons dying.
I think my ultimate character count was like 15.
Yeah, like the credits it says like.
If you count all 16, or I mean all 6 sages.
Yeah, that's right.
May I suggest perhaps if you were to go there yourself and dispose of
What a clever guy.
you could regain some.
Yeah, this is a really important scene because it sort of establishes Skull Kid as the boss. One of the reasons I had him argue with the goon was because like Skull Kid's probably the one who's really in charge,
Yeah.
whereas Erdogan's not.
Ergen thinks he is, kind of.
This scene was important, and it was kind of hard for me to think, sort of, why are these brothers just hanging out here?
It's really been 5 years.
So I came up with this story just to have it that Link's sort of become the dad, and that he and Kyron do their thing.
Dad hadn't died that day.
And I even established like that the elders helped. So it's like, wait, how can a 12-year-old run a farm? Unfortunately, the story here gets changed a little bit by the end of the movie. But I tried to tie up my loose ends because the family history shockers at the end all came after this initial draft.
That's right.
What was Mom like? You remember?
Wow, that was very Star Wars.
Yeah.
Seeing as this wasn't really a official movie, I pretty much lifted where I felt necessary.
Yeah, this was a great scene, I have to say. Like, as little as we had, you guys are fishing, sitting on your butt, and there's not much to do with camera angles. There's not much to do with. It's all in the conversation and all in the music. Pretty cool. I think one of the few scenes we actually finished in one day.
We did this one and several others.
Yeah, we did a couple others in the same day, didn't we?
We had to do voiceover
For
to
the
fix
backs.
this up.
Yeah, we didn't have good audio there.
Oh, dang!
Great line.
I like the look on my face there.
Little Van's shoe down there.
Yeah. And this one, like a year later.
Yeah.
But it worked.
Kyron's shirt isn't the same one.
It isn't the same one?
Yeah, no ADP.
Oh. Oh yeah, and it was short sleeved.
Yeah.
I-
Well, he had his. Wait, was it short sleeve or he had his?
I don't
sleeve
know.
Rolled up. I think it was rolled up. But this one's like a deeper blue color.
So yeah, there was no farm.
Yeah.
It was not in the budget. This is our friend Kim, who later plays Link's mother in the flashback. She did the VO.
Yeah, she was the first idea for Malin because she had red hair, but we just decided have voiceover, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah. Erdogan and his guards were trying to muscle into Pam for some stolen food she didn't take.
Ooh.
I like the scene. It's good at establishing sort of the brother relationship.
Yeah, I mean, here in this scene, you really see the big brother. Kyron is just like, or Blake is just like this little 12-year-old. Like, he really convinced me.
I love him. He's such a key part of this movie, in the sense that he has to be lovable. If he's not lovable, the rest of the movie completely stinks. And one of the things when I was first brought on as a writer that I had to do was Kyron, as he was portrayed as a little bit more of a pesky little brother that Link was sort of frustrated with in Josh's original draft. And though he was one of the things that I had to work with already, I decided to change the role so that Kyron would be a lot more lovable, that there would be more of a loving relationship, even though he does get into trouble and Link is frustrated with him. The love needed to be there.
Yeah, I do remember writing Link as more of a, I hate you, you're my little brother, we don't like each other.
That was the hardest line to do.
Yeah, it was.
I love how I'm talking to myself
Yeah,
here.
well,
Good old Lumpy.
If no one had figured it out, Lumpy is Dan Hogan also.
This was filmed like at 3 a.m.
That's right.
in like Christmas vacations 2006.
I forgot about that.
Oh, suffer.
I believe all Connor's lines are VO'd.
Yeah, I think they are. The stuff inside with me and Kyron was filmed like the last week of filming,
That's right.
whereas the stuff outside the curtain was filmed like a year before.
That's right. I think you can see your hair is a lot longer inside.
Yeah, my hair's a lot different. It was just hard to get Kyron down here.
And I think all Kyron's stuff was filmed at one time, right? He's
Yeah.
all the inside. Yeah, that's right.
I'm intending to make this memorable for you, farm boy. I trust it's all that, farm boy, because you know what happened if it's not. But what are you gonna do about it?
Most people were impressed with this scene, which kind of surprised us because we did this like in an hour,
Yeah. It's
and we ended up using real firelight
Yeah.
to light the scene. It really, we didn't expect it to work, but it really
It
helped.
was really bright.
This scene was just
This was cut down
really tough.
a lot. We originally, I had choreographed an entire fight between this thug and Skull Kid, but it got way too dark, and you couldn't see a thing. And there's a few shots in this scene that are still really, really dark.
And Skull Kid had some cool lines that were remnants of a scene that Michael wrote.
That's right.
Where he basically cuts off the organs of the thug. You know, like he makes him internally bleed.
He like breaks the main structural bones in his body that, you know, yeah, basically he's still alive, but he'll die in a couple days or something. I think he said like The Walking Dead or.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Maybe we'll put it in deleted scenes.
Ooh, who knows?
Who knows?
You'll get the audio. It's just a really crappy visual. Oh, and right there, when he swings his whip, that was filmed in a completely different place about a year later.
Yeah, we had to have a quick ending. I liked that scene though because
It really.
we really argued about cutting it.
Yeah, because I mean, at first we thought it was enough that Skull Kid is, you know, he's really controlling her again, and he's the advisor who's taking control of everything. But we also wanted to show that he can also kick someone's butt if he wanted to.
Yeah, especially because he doesn't get to fight until the end of the movie,
Yeah,
or at least
near
two-thirds.
the end of the movie.
And nothing you can do will make me.
This is one of my least favorite scenes.
That was kind of dumb, but it was necessary.
It's necessary, yeah.
Just do what I ask, and your people will be safe and prosperous.
It probably even could have been. Well, it might have been able to be cut.
We could have cut it, but I wanted to establish that she had seen Link.
Yes, it was that, and also this is good to like. I didn't want to cut right from the Skull Kid fight to Link waking up. I wanted to go to something else.
Another dumb Courage reference, but I slipped those in the first half of this movie. This scene I love because this is where it starts finally feeling like Zelda.
Yeah.
You just have to pay the $150 cage fee. So we stay there one day or 6 days.
You'd be surprised how many outtakes this scene had. But I really liked it. I thought it was. Kyron mentions, you know, is that his uniform? But
Where are you going?
I thought it was fitting that Link just sort of didn't talk about the uniform, and that's just how he explained it. Because I was thinking, what do we do with the tunic? And I figured, you know what, he'll just wear it.
We go to the castle, we get our money back. I'm sick of these usurpers using
There's
this.
a
This is
Butcher.
probably my worst acting, if not
butcher
second worst.
line there.
I want to come with you. I want to have no butts this time.
Editing helped cover it up a little bit.
Yes, it did. 1 year later.
Yeah, right here.
This scene used to be like 20 minutes long.
Yeah, I cut it down.
And I like stopped on a tree and ate some nuts and like
It's still really
looked at the
long.
scenery and it's all right.
I just wanted to listen to the music. I wanted it to really match, but it's still kind of drawn out.
Quick, get to Hyrule Castle before the stall children come out. You can see my wristwatch on.
Yeah,
Idiot didn't take it off.
You got a good shot of the wristwatch when he was eating those nuts that we took out.
Yeah. It was kind of gross.
Yeah.
This one is props to John Summerford.
John Summerford, animated birds, and a picture of a castle that he put in there.
Barking Moblin.
Yeah, our own barking mountains.
You're late.
You weren't at your post last night. Where were you?
I was conducting some business.
Oh, Skull Kid's got his own plans.
I told you. It was useless.
You showed her your exploits from the other
Gosh, I
night.
love that voice.
Yes. And even then, she wouldn't make
She doesn't fear you.
'Cause
So here we sort of see that Skull Kid knows a little bit about the legend.
She fears power.
Yeah,
She
he's
seeks
more than
success.
meets the eye. That's definitely for sure.
You have her father and the rest of the council under your control. But she couldn't care less about you.
I wouldn't say such things to your master if I
Oh.
This was a Matt last-minute addition. His line here.
By all means. Correct.
There you go.
Originally, he just stood up and was supposed to look imposing, but the line I
The
think
line
really helps.
helps.
There is still one more option we have yet to exhaust.
And what is that? Marriage, my boy. It is our heart's desire.
It shall be granted.
Ian McKellen.
I was surprised he was willing to do it for us.
No one gets in these castle walls.
This was dumb.
I'm not leaving it today.
You know, this gate.
Well, he's holding a lead pipe.
Yeah, he's holding a lead pipe that was like
On the
holding
floor.
a sign. And the worst part about this was that we filmed this all, and then they decided to renovate the chapel, so we had to film it again.
Yeah.
It was absolutely dreadful.
Yeah.
But luckily, that allowed Josh to get a cameo in the movie because our other actor pulled out,
Oh yeah, that is true.
even though he's still credited.
A good thing we got all this in because the entire main hallway in the church here.
Yeah,
is
that's all gone now.
Completely redone. Does not look like a castle at all.
Oh, the chairs.
Yes, the
We
chairs.
totally didn't notice that they'd be a problem, but everybody else did.
Everybody hated them.
Thank you, Aaron. Leave us.
What a hottie.
And your name, farm boy?
I really wanted to get the fireplace going here, but I didn't.
It just would have been too much
yeah.
work.
You have much to talk about.
We had to wait until a funeral was over in order to use this room. We felt terrible, but
It had to be
Yeah.
done. I mean,
Guards are muscling me around.
we did this entire movie guerrilla style. Like we had no permission whatsoever to film here.
So why
We just hoped that they didn't kick us out.
how do you know me?
we were stealthy.
I've been watching you since Erdogan came to your farm the other night.
You were there.
I love how my back is covering up a television.
Yeah, it kind of peeks out in the shot
It's
here.
pretty ridiculous, but at least this scene originally took place in the Temple of Time, but then the Temple of Time was ruined.
Yeah.
That is why I've been watching you. And that is why I knew you were key to his destruction.
Wait,
There it is. TV and radio back there.
Oh man, that's
I don't want
ridiculous.
It's all right.
I just wanted to feed my brother.
I don't think you understand the
I wish the dialogue was delivered better here
Hyrule, he won't be sad.
because Link sort of has.
What do you mean?
I don't know. It's a little weird.
Long ago,
Yeah.
A situation like this occurred. A man from the desert came into the kingdom in search for the golden power.
I think the music doesn't really fit the scene, even though there's like no other option than Zelda's Lullaby.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to fit, like, I have different soundtracks, like Gladiator, Kingdom of Heaven, a whole bunch of different soundtracks in there, but I wanted to fit in as much original music from Legend of Zelda as I could. And, I mean, this was obviously a Zelda Lullaby scene.
Yeah. But do you mean you know what I meant? Like it doesn't quite hit the lines
It doesn't-
the same edit,
yeah,
the same
it-
way that most of your edits do.
It doesn't really match as well.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
And this, props to Jack Curran over YouTube, met him over YouTube.
That was actually a really interesting experience because we saw this and Josh was saying, "Oh, isn't this a great short? I want to do the creation of Hyrule like this." And I don't remember who had the idea, but anyway, we emailed Jack and we just said, "Can we use it?" And he said, "Oh, I don't think so." But then we showed him the trailer, and he totally agreed to it and was totally fine with it. But we wouldn't have been able to do this scene without him.
Yeah, I mean, originally I was thinking, okay, we'll just use Ocarina of Time cutscene. No way.
But
That would
it
have
was
ruined
ugly.
It would have taken you out of the movie.
Exactly.
It would have been totally catastrophic.
Gave the spirit of law to the world.
It looks really good in the high definition, like this scene. It's my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah.
Who would uphold
Only thing
great goddesses,
that was a problem with this one is probably the pacing, but then again,
sacred triangles.
it was a little difficult because this line that Natalie's going into right now,
Then the sacred triangle.
it was the hardest line in the whole movie because
When the goddess has finished their
we knew we would need it
to leave this world.
because it explained so much about the plot and Ganondorf and all that whatnot, but it was just a nightmare to try to place.
It was huge.
Like, what were we going to put over this scene? Luckily, we had some parts from Jack's video that we could continue to use. But it was still really difficult. Josh wanted to lose it, and I totally understand why. But I explained to some people, and I had to ask some audience members after they had seen sort of our warm-up premiere if this line would help understand the plot, and they ended up sort of agreeing it would, and so we ended up keeping it.
We could go without it if this was only for fans of the Zelda franchise, because they would understand, they already know from the games, but you have to have this in here if you're going to show it to people who've never played Zelda before and be able to attract both sides of the audience. And so it's just necessary.
However, even for fans of the Zelda game, much to their chagrin, I ended up putting my own twist on the three goddesses, and so I knew it was going to frustrate some people, but we had to explain how we were doing the cycle of eternity here.
You know, the games don't even give you a solid understanding of it. You just kind of imply your own thing. It gives you some information, but not all, and we just sort of filled the gaps in our own way. That's pretty much as simple as it gets.
Yeah, our oh, poor Natalie in this line. We were running out of battery. She was running out of time, and she had one take reading the script. I felt so bad for her, and we didn't have time to redub it.
She did all right.
At least until another hero and another princess can arise to stop him, Pete.
It's kind of funny. In our first attempted premiere, the movie wasn't completed, and so we had some of Jack's animation, but no narration to it. So it comes up, and we watch this whole animation thing with nothing going on except music, and then it cuts to Link saying, "My lady, I still don't understand," and the entire audience starts cracking
Burst
up
into laughter.
because it's like they know something's missing. Like, it was terrible.
Link, it's you. You're the hero of time. You have the courage to stop him.
No.
I wish I would have. See, we're break out the flail and just start going away, man. We're so critical. There were parts in this movie where we thought there was no way we were either going to finish this, or even if we did, it would be any good.
It would be good.
But
yeah.
every time we shot a scene that was terrible, I waited until we got to the editing room and Josh would show it to me, and I loved it.
It's the main one like that was what was the scene? I think it
The
was
first sword fight.
It was the first sword fight. I thought was crap. It
But
was crap.
the edit totally made up for it.
Are you with us?
And Link storming the castle. I thought that was a terrible day.
Oh, but it ended up being
But it ended up
great.
being one of the coolest scenes.
You have to go.
There's Brett lying in the back there around the chairs.
I didn't even notice that. I've seen this like 700 times. This is a completely different room in the church, completely different day.
Yeah, they're not even looking at each other right now.
Yes.
Oh, and this right here, that's me in my room. I put on the outfit. I didn't have that shot from Connor.
Not a lot of people noticed Link.
Not a lot of people
leaping back.
noticed the door opening behind there. There's a little subtle little thing there.
Some people even thought it was a goof.
Yeah, it's invisible. It's like, Frodo. He's,
Yeah.
going out.
The shadow of me on the other side
Yeah,
of
you
the
can see
wall.
some shadowing right there.
Farm boys about to suffer, would you?
She looks so
I
pale.
wrote that line on set.
You did?
Yep.
You wouldn't want any more farm boys to have to suffer?
I wrote it on set on the back of a piece of paper because we wanted Erdogan to sort of look a little tough.
Yeah, he has too many weak points. He really wanted some more tough, like, I'm gonna kill you kind
And
of.
also, I wanted to establish why Zelda was afraid to stop him.
Yeah.
Because she's concerned for her people. A little note about the red on Michael's outfit. That's a nod to the old man from the original Zelda game
Oh,
who gives
yeah.
Link all of this stuff, like the sword.
Yeah. I mean, because he was an old man, but we had to have some little nostalgic element there of the red robe.
Yeah. His initial costume was a red robe.
It
but
was a red robe.
It was too hard to reproduce.
Yeah.
Anyone about those guards?
Well, actually, I talked to them.
Right.
I love the look on my face there.
Secret stuff. Look what she gave us.
Wait, there must be more than 500 rupees in here.
Told you I meant it.
The giant wallet.
What's the total you can have in Ocarina? Like 1,000, 2,000?
No, it was like 1,000.
Was it
No,
1,000?
it was 500, I thought.
Was it 500?
What'd she say?
Zelda
I
geeks out
love
there.
Kyron's scene here.
She found a warrior.
He's such a little boy.
Blake did great. What's so funny is that at this point in filming, Blake is probably like 2 or 3 inches shorter than me,
That's
and he's only like 6 months younger than me.
Here's the
These were the
pointless-
dumbest chores on the planet.
pointless
I was
chores.
hammering a steak that was already in, and Blake was just randomly caressing the hill with this
Hey, he's pulling
stick, pulling random.
He's pulling dead
weeds
weeds,
out.
right?
We were just look busy.
John, too few scenes. You did a great job.
He was planned to be in more scenes, but he ended up oversleeping, and we had to just film him without
He was
him.
Aaron, right? He was my part originally.
No, it
no,
wasn't.
that was
That
Josh.
was Outerkirk.
Josh Outerkirk.
I have a letter for you from the royal offices concerning the debt you owe the prince. He needs you real time.
So that was a lot of times that falls on dead ears, but he's working for Zelda.
Yeah.
That's why we made sure that he had another scene as a royal guard,
Yeah.
and that's why we show him at the beginning when Zelda talks about her royal guards.
Sure.
Here, once again, that's natural firelight. That's the candle.
Yeah, we had no other light, no reflectors, no light kit, no nothing. It was just a candle light. That's about it.
This worked really well, even though the letter looks kind of stupid.
Yeah, like pen scribble. I think we burned some of the paper just to make it look old.
If you don't help me, I don't know what he'll be able to do.
So many people interpret why he burns the letter.
I don't think we all have the same understanding.
I think I just burned it because it was fun.
I thought you were like, you had this bitter face, like, no, I'm not gonna help her. I'm gonna stay here. You know.
Initially,
protect my
that's
farm."
what it was. Is
Okay.
he really didn't want to help her, at least the way I wrote it. But you know, you can sort of interpret it.
And it's also fun to just burn paper. So
This scene was beautiful, and I had nothing to do with it.
music was a huge part in this. It's I think this track is called Kingdom of Heaven from Kingdom of Heaven. It's this I just thought of a huge wedding. going
Yeah,
on right
Natalie had her own dress,
now. Yeah, she had her own.
It was really
white
pretty.
dress.
and here's our impressive clergyman here,
Josh, right?
in traditional Jewish a Jewish robe, doing a ceremony. It's pretty cool. It kind of looks like a Vulcan, but it's all right. It fits with the Triforce. That's a nod to Link to the Past, by the way. That's how the game begins.
That was Zelda calling to Link in his sleep.
I always hated that scene. I was actually,
Oh yeah,
my feet were on the ground
he's like.
because I was like laying on a ledge by my neck. It was kind of terrible. This one was interesting because initially the Elder was not in the script, but I wrote him in because I thought we needed a scene like this. And then it was a question of who do we cast as him. So what
Mr. Hogan.
we finally decided on was my dad. And so this is what we came up with. We were really sort of taking a gamble on him because we didn't know how he'd do.
You did a great job.
He did do a good job. He hadn't acted for a long time.
Like the I think you said the thing that popped up in your head for your dad as the part was when he would read you stories.
Yeah, he used to read me the Chronicles of Narnia, and what really popped in my head was his voice for Aslan.
Ah.
But he used to always do voices for the characters.
I need you to look after Kyron. I thought as much. Look, the princess.
For the visual effects nerds out there, the ashes or the fire are fake. I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, I thought they looked nice. I loved this scene. It had more moblins than I can count, but
Oh yeah, a lot of traffic.
and it was cold. Bastionry was being brutal.
Busy. Street light back there.
I think it's funny. I'm actually sitting down in this
Oh
scene.
yeah, we couldn't get the firelight close enough to Dan's face, so he's actually sitting on a step looking at the floor.
You were that big of a coward then?
Cowardice and fear are two very different.
This was an important line.
Courage is not the absence of fear, but it is the will to push past.
I thought this was very necessary, especially because Link gets so angry.
Oh, Kyron, I'm sorry.
I wanted to put a part where he would really show his fear and that he's gonna want to do the right thing, and that's we only get maybe 5 or 10 minutes of that Link that's gonna do the right thing. But here he is.
I do wish we had a little bit more of that, but you know.
I agree.
It's all right.
That was my dad's ad lib. It was really good.
Don't hold your father's death against him.
Without any music in the scene, it still is emotional. I really like it.
I just noticed there's no music in it.
Yeah, there's no music in the scene.
Left alone to take care of your brother. But you were strong.
I like the fact that there's no music. It
Yeah.
the later scene with Elder wouldn't have worked without music.
Yeah, that one was
Because
way
the music
too long.
really helps that scene.
The music helps that one immensely. Like, what was it like? We'll get to it later, but
Don't look back. I will protect you. Go. Now. Yes, sir.
See, I don't think this movie's necessarily boring. The first half hour does drag a little bit, but I think it works.
yeah, it does. And at this point, it picks up. Like,
Yeah, from here on it picks up. This was one of my favorite sections of the whole movie.
Skull Kid.
Skull Kid is
He's just a monster. Like, look at that guy. Cool shot here.
dude. I would have been so out of breath.
Yes, this sped you up like 110%.
Did you?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I didn't even notice
It
that.
doesn't look like it.
It doesn't.
Compliments to John Summerford once again.
Yeah, he lit everything with the torches. That guy was amazing. Originally, we were gonna have a line here, but Josh decided
Yeah,
to take
he
it out.
said, was like, yes, as you wish, my lady, or something, kind of a creepy voice. But I thought I didn't want Skull Kid to be giving anything away that would lead to who he really was, and so he conceals his voice around Zelda.
What's funny is Skull Kid exits the door that Michael just walked out of.
Yeah,
in the real geography of the church.
The actual,
But
yeah, daytime.
okay, I'm gonna just lay it on the line. I pretty much based that entire scene on Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3.
Oh.
Who's the prince or
Prince Arthas.
Arthas come back to kill his father. Yeah, we have some lines straight out of the game. Oh.
Here we chose because the Temple of Time was being the chapel was being had construction. This was Hillcrest Park in Fullerton, and we found this place that looks just ruined. It was initially like a war monument, but it's kind of been run down, and homeless people hang out there. But it had this thing that looked like the altar and these steps, so it just looked like a ruined castle, and so we decided to use that instead.
The bad part about it was that we were right next to a major street.
Oh yeah, Harbor Boulevard.
So everything, all sound is taken out of scenes at Hillcrest Park and revoiced with fake ambience and all that stuff.
Yeah, this whole shot was precisely from Warcraft 3.
Yeah, going up the sword, that was from the cinematic at the end, like straight from it.
Here's a little bit more of helpful Link.
It was a brilliant plan. Why didn't I think of it? I was so stupid. Who am I kidding? The Arab wisdom.
You did everything you could, Zelda. There's nothing you could have done. He couldn't win you over, so we just use a loophole. You just have to take it from here. And what can I do?
I love those lines. Once again, Ian McKellen.
Yes.
Just one.
Had to kill him off though.
Well, he only had a couple hours to shoot with us.
That's true. Very busy.
Yeah, that one was from Warcraft 2.
There's a Warcraft.
I figured this whole movie was plagiarized, so what if I took a line here and
might
there?
as well.
We are the
Nice.
That was Josh's line. Awesome. Notice, I am both the king and one of the guards in this scene.
Yes.
You and your monkey.
Kind of gruesome right here. Little gushy.
I like the please. It
Please.
worked really well.
You know, interrupted by the stab in the neck.
Link, he's coming.
Let him come. Now we get pissed off, Link.
I don't care.
I do.
Will she ever let me fight? Gosh.
Yeah, seriously.
There's the wide shot of the temple.
Good breeze going there. I would have liked a different crown, but didn't have one. Went to Party City, paid 30 stinking bucks for that. Like, it. Yeah, whatever.
People still rave about Natalie's father.
Yeah, Garrett. Really
Garrett especially thinks it's like
Garrett
the best line in the
loved
movie.
it. Hard line to deliver.
Yeah, it was a couple. What do you call it?
I gave her direction
Takes.
of like 10 different emotions she was having.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're scared, but you're
Frustrated and fearful and sad.
and like, just go action.
That's one of the only times where she shows true emotion in this, because for most of the movie she steeled herself.
Yeah.
And I wrote her character a lot sort of like Natalie is herself, just very sort of
There's still time. Go.
very tough on the outside, and I think it fit her character. Oh, here's my favorite part.
It's dangerous to me. Take
It
this.
was the old man.
Direct homage to the first Zelda.
And you wrote most of the lines and parts of each character based on the actor or actress's ability to act,
Yeah.
including mainly Erdogan, right?
No. Toward the end of Erdogan, I basically not Connor's fault, but I wrote Erdogan as a slightly different character than Connor played him, but it was all right. I definitely wrote Zelda to Natalie. I even wrote Link to myself that I don't have many lines that are longer than a couple sentences. I don't have any monologues. This day of shooting was terrible.
This day was rushed, like, what, 20, 30 minutes?
No, it was longer than that, but it was tough.
We didn't have
This
much
was
time
the
at
day
all.
I really wondered about whether or not we would be able to finish this movie.
If it was going to be good, or if we finished it, it was going to be good.
That came out as a surprise, because I don't think a lot of people expected him to die.
I didn't expect him
That
to.
was one of the original things that Josh wrote in the first draft that was sort of a stipulation that I had to keep. And I liked it. I liked how we used it. It ended up being powerful in sort of a goofy movie.
Yeah, the music helps again.
Music helps. I liked the lack of sound. It was pretty good.
Just, yeah, Silent Scream. Love those.
People
And,
probably had no idea what we were doing.
Gotta kick some butt.
I love this part. And the sound effect too. It was beautiful, Josh.
Oh, a little echo when you pull the sword out.
Ah, it's my favorite.
Tristan Evanson.
Yep. There for like 20 minutes in Che Guevara shoes. And he didn't even know who Che Guevara was. That was a really dumb take, but whatever.
That was a dumb take. Oh yeah.
That's a glove filled with dirt and ketchup. By the way, the blood splatters were added in one of the last special effects in the entire movie.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything planned for his blood splatters.
I think
and
by here I've already had my finger sliced open.
your finger was sliced open by the end of this take. But I thought it was gonna be
This
too
sound
gory.
effect sold the movie.
And then little body drop there.
Yep.
Like head rolls off possibly.
Yep. Oh, I thought it was the head falling on the ground.
It's the body falling, and then you hear the head kind of sort of boom boom like.
I've always thought it was just the head hitting the ground.
Oh, okay. Blink died.
Not quite.
Wait.
And here's the guy. This was a strange scene. I felt terrible this day.
Did you sick?
Yeah.
Toilet paper.
These were the hardest days to do just because it was such a pain to get down
Well,
to
yeah,
this
this
place.
location is like in the middle of like a huge horse trail. So with the equipment we had to walk for like 20 minutes, get to where we need to be.
It was nice with my wagon until it broke.
Yeah, the wagon broke, so we can't drag our equipment anymore.
And it was just dirty, and I hated it. And up here, I was so sick.
Fun little story about how.
My head was like pounding, throbbing.
At least you didn't have to run
I wish I
around.
closed my mouth, but I was like seriously having difficulties. Yeah, that one looks better on YouTube.
That one looks a lot better on YouTube.
I think it's too close, but
It's too close, and you can tell that it's a cutout of a picture.
Oh, it's you.
Davik.
Name's Davik.
Davik was one of the hardest characters to fit into this movie because he plays a guy who's like 40 years old, but Michael Stevenson is only like 6 months. He's 6 months younger than me.
Yeah.
And he plays my uncle. So he had the biggest. He had to play out of character in terms of his age, but I think he pulled it off.
He really does a great job when he gets the haircut.
Yeah.
At that point,
Part
he's
of it
like-
is because
It's a
these
year
scenes
later.
were not quite a year, I don't think, but in that time, Michael had started working out and he'd been wrestling and he just grew and aged 6 months, and so his he had facial hair and he had a deeper voice and he had a build that sort of it wasn't scrawny little Michael.
Yeah.
It was bigger.
Person that came to my mind for his character was Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, Jeremy Irons.
Crossed with like a few other people.
Even though he was the Liam Neeson archetype.
Yeah, yeah.
This ended up being a very emotional scene at the premiere. People sort of said, "Oh, is Kyron dead or whatnot?" But the scene in the grave really.
The
set
theater
in.
went quiet, and everyone was just listening to like the rain. You can hear a little bit of thunder and rain.
Did you add the thunder?
Yes, thunder is fake, but it was raining.
It was raining.
That's hard, kid. You're just gonna have to get over it.
See some water.
Yeah, Mike.
Well, yeah.
This was before Michael really hit his stride.
My
Yeah.
fault.
He did a good job though. Part of the problem was we hadn't decided really what we were going to do with his character. We still were trying to make it gray, but it just didn't work.
the hair.
This was a pain because like the bandages were falling apart.
I think
How did we put that cross together?
we had the cross already put together. Like it was. Wait, did we? I don't know. Maybe
I don't remember.
We took a nail.
I know you better than you think.
In the other audio commentary with Blake, Connor, and Michael, they probably made fun of me about spraying his hair white.
Yeah, probably
It-
a lot.
I will blame myself. That was a bad idea.
Well,
Different
if
in
we
my
had,
head.
if we
Different
were
in my
able
head.
to do it more consistently, it would have been okay.
Yeah, it was much different in my head.
Glad your brother died quickly.
This scene worked pretty well. I loved the selection of Gerudo Valley
Yes.
because this is an upbeat song, but it's just a sad version of it.
It's kind of a quiet version.
So the strings for Davik really capture sort of the romance and the darkness, but still adventurous.
Yes.
So they're sad, but they're adventurous.
Yes.
Like a Cormac McCarthy movie.
And these the remake, the guitar version, acoustic guitar version of Dark Overworld and Gerudo Valley are from. Apologies, I don't remember your name. YouTube once again.
Father said she got feet.
Totally forgot the guy's name, but asked his permission. We got it.
He tried to protect you.
I didn't know you asked him. I thought you just.
No. I contacted him on YouTube and I said, hey,
Cool.
I'm gonna put you in the credits. Can I use your music?
The day we met, I knew you the minute I saw you.
Oh, Alec. I think it's Alec.
Just like him.
A-L-A-K.
What's really interesting to me is that
You're my uncle.
I didn't really think these scenes worked very well, but test audience, my mom, when this was one of the last scenes in the first premiere,
Why not?
but when she saw the movie, she was really interested in these parts because she liked the interplay between not only me and Blake but me and Michael too, because she was saying, oh, I see that Davik knows more than Link's or than he's letting on to Link, and
Yeah.
she liked this sort of the mystery around him.
Yeah.
And then I told her who Davik really was, and she was very dismayed.
Oh, yeah.
And a coward
Oh,
won't
she
fall
found out before she saw the entire movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Regardless of how your father and I felt about each other, we both loved one another very much. It was the one thing I couldn't hold against him. He would have sacrificed his life for me if he couldn't. He was in the same situation you are now.
This was tricky because I had to get a passport photo taken, and I had just cut my hair. It was
yeah.
the shortest it was in the entire movie.
Yeah.
Go home.
It was still okay though.
We let Erdogan have his way with this thing.
It was so windy.
Yeah, sounds pretty bad.
The weather itself was a wombat. I mean, a
A
moblin.
moblin.
Sorry, Wombat Liberation League was something else. No, it was defamation.
Defamation League.
Still have a
That was the magical glove that ended the first premiere.
Yeah, the first premiere, we were basically showing it in YouTube quality, very choppy, very bad quality. And
It was worse than YouTube, dude.
It was
sucked.
worse than YouTube. And on a big screen, so it looks terrible. But I didn't want to show them the good scenes in that quality. And they weren't finished either, so.
There is no hope for you.
Connor's hair is a lot better, and his acting is a lot better in these scenes.
I learned this village and everything else that got in my way.
Once again, Zelda's character, I wanted to establish, because we knew we wouldn't have her for a lot of scenes, and she wouldn't have any action scenes until the end, but that was an ad-lib.
That was just the...
But we wanted to establish that she wasn't a pushover, that she was sort of stuck, but she was still a strong character, because she had to be, because she's so wise.
Which is what Zelda is in every game, right?
Yeah.
Marley is far from dead.
What's interesting is we ended up ditching the undershirt at this point, because part of her character was we wanted to make her sort of vulnerable, seductive almost, but
I entrusted
dangerous.
Yes.
And we thought losing the undershirt made her both of those things. Made her
Yes.
look more beautiful, but also more dangerous. Impromptu haircut.
Yes, yes.
We actually went to a barber shop, and you can tell the story.
Oh yeah. On our way here, I had a shot in the storyboards. I had a shot where the scene starts out with locks of hair falling on the ground, and then we see Michael has a haircut. Didn't have hair. Michael was not willing to cut his hair, and I honestly didn't really want to, because that would be weird. So we stopped by my barber on the way to our location shoot, and asked, "Hey,
so weird.
do you have any brown hair? Have you cut any? Yeah, we got some brown hair. Can you sweep some up and put it back for me? Yeah, sure." And they give me this bag of cut up brown hair.
It was so gross.
It was really disgusting. Because I mean, they didn't cut it big piece of hair with scissors. It was like one of those buzzards, those buzzard things. So it was like all these little pieces of hair and balls.
Oh,
And so
sick.
doesn't look consistent. But
And what's the funniest part is so many people didn't even realize that his hair was a lot shorter than it was the scene before.
yeah,
So many people were like, "Did he cut his hair?"
yeah, they did. It's not that big of a difference.
All sorts of different
Somebody thought that there was actually a different actor.
Really?
Yeah, one of my friends.
Well, this is like a pretty long time after.
It was Michael did good on these lines because he really powered through them. He knew he wasn't going to remember him, but he really took his time to try to get him right, even though we were trying to feed him. He did a really good job.
This ordinary sword that I gave you worked well against troops. And if you had tried to use it against her, it would have been useless.
And then how am I supposed to kill him?
I like those graffiti marks.
Yeah, the
We
graffiti
just
mark.
left them there.
Graffiti mark right there. I didn't really notice it till after the edit, but a few people point out that it says LSD on it,
Oh,
which I did not know it said that.
we didn't know what it said. We just thought it looked interesting because it was blue.
Yeah, it was
And it
like
fit the white sword.
markings to show them where you hit it. Oh, and in the middle of shooting, I think one of the biggest action scenes, we left for lunch and our wagon broke, so we couldn't carry all of our equipment. So we decided to just leave it in a next to a bush, including
Oh, that
all
was
of our
terrible.
swords and everything. Most of it was stolen. So what Dan is using right here is the full-length white sword, but the sheath for the full-length white sword was stolen with the medium-sized sword. So we had a medium-sized sheath with a long sword, which wouldn't work. And so in every shot from here on out that you see the white sword in its sheath, it's really about a foot-long blade and a long sheath. And it's just angled right so you can't tell.
It's not as easy as it looks as a kid.
I really liked this scene. Like I said, I like this scene because this is where Michael started really hitting his stride. I was really impressed with the way he was handling himself in all these scenes. It was awesome.
Train me to use that sword.
There's an example of a short sword right there. You only see it going in the sheath for like a
I'm
second.
not sending you there, Princess.
This is
We must save her.
my favorite acting from him.
Yeah, this is like my favorite shot here because he had the pauses. He took his time and he really delivers it well. So the fun begins.
This one was my brainchild. Originally, well, the music was Josh, but originally this scene was maybe 3 times as long.
Yes, it was.
It was this whole training segment where all of Davik's dialogue and all that whatnot was sort of at different parts in the movie. The problem was that our schedule was just ballooning. We were trying desperately to finish the thing before
The deadline?
finish it, period.
And of course, this is all filmed in that area that's hard to get to and is very time consuming to get, just travel to.
By the way, Brett made that target.
Oh yeah, boxes.
He got boxes from Stater Brothers, and it took us all day to make it.
Right.
But he was pretty good. So anyway, what we did is we condensed the 3 or 4 scenes into this one scene with the voiceovers.
And
Got
sort
rid of a little bit
montage.
of dialogue.
Oh, I like this right here. I've experienced, battle more than most men.
So many people think that
So many people think
it's
that's
prosthesis or
yeah,
something.
Yeah,
But Michael really was born like that.
Nice.
This was awesome.
It's just as good that I missed it. There's more to fighting than more to combat. There's more to passion than bloody fury.
Somebody was like, "Oh, did they spend one day?" The whole point was that they didn't.
I thought it was kind of clear showing that this is happening over time.
I wish I was buffer. Oh well, life goes on.
Oh well.
Obladi oblada. That's what the Beatles said, so it has to be right.
Script in his back pocket in that shot, by the way.
Initially, we wanted to show a scene of Natalie and Connor back at the castle to sort of show their reactions, but it just didn't. It didn't fit with the pace.
We're gonna have
That was the one that I had to let go of that I really liked.
John Summerford, everybody.
Oh yeah, these were great. These were actually those Christmas ornaments that you're supposed to paint.
Oh yeah.
I snagged some from the class Christmas party at church. They were gonna throw them out. Don't worry, I wasn't stealing from church.
I don't think we could find crystals exactly that would be really cool looking. So
Yeah, we tried. It looked
became orbs.
ridiculous. The archery equipment was for my friend Richard. In the middle of the night one night, we went over and see if we could borrow it. This was a tough shoot.
Great scene though. Love it.
We almost had to reshoot it.
That's right.
This was what was so interesting about the scene though was, this was one of those nights that me and Josh were butting heads,
Oh, yeah.
which happened usually 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. But we were seriously butting heads over how to shoot the film because we were running up on the deadline. This is what, a month before the movie premiere?
Probably, yeah. The first premiere.
Yeah. So it was terrible, but this was the last thing of the day because the sun was going down.
That's another thing. All of this footage here, this is actually brighter. The sun is clearly on Michael right now, but the last few shots were shot when the sun was down. So I had to match everything to that one shot. So I made it more of an early morning, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning look.
Jaws shot.
Jaws shot. That's a difficult one to fit in to a movie.
It even says that in the trivia for Jaws on IMDb.
Oh yeah, if no one knows what a Jaws shot is, that shot with the background and the figure, stretching like that was first used in the movie Jaws.
It actually wasn't first used. It was just most famously
But
used.
just most famous for it.
That was a quick edit.
That was just a quick edit. The sword was just at his neck. He didn't actually. I don't have my actors swing a sword and stop it inches from their necks. Don't worry.
Liar. I nearly killed Brett and Nick.
At least not in that scene.
It was real monumental to get John back here because I really wanted to use him again, especially because he couldn't be in Storming the Castle.
Yeah.
But
If we only showed him,
he ended up getting so much busier over the
if we only
course of
showed
the
him in
years.
that one scene, it wouldn't have been enough.
This was the scene that I wrote specifically with Natalie in mind. That fire intro was pretty good, though.
What a way to enter a room.
My inspiration for this scene was The Princess Bride, where she tells off Prince Humperdinck.
Oh, and then he runs off and kills.
I wish the audio was better, but
Audio, yeah. Everything in this movie was recorded on camera mic. I had no boom mic, no crew. It was just cast and me with the camera,
usually me with the script.
and with you with the script supervisor,
Oh, he's pissed.
and alive.
Yeah, not dead.
Don't really like the delivery here, but
Yeah, but it was still nice because it was another way for Zelda to assert control without needing any real power.
yeah. And she's the damsel in distress, but I don't want to have her just a. I mean, Zelda is not Princess Peach. She's Zelda.
This was awesome.
Excellent scene.
This lighting was completely accidental. And the wind.
This was not planned. There's no green screen. There's no lighting kit. It was just in a tunnel, and we had a great light behind him. And the wind, yeah, that was natural.
We loved that we took the Skull Kid's mask off because we wanted to.
Tease you a little bit, you know?
We weren't sure if people were going to realize that it was going to come off eventually. We wanted them to think about, wait, who's under the mask?
Yeah. Gosh, that's such a great shot.
When did you start making decisions for me? Be gone, away from my sight.
See a little bit of a nose, I think. Yep.
Oh no, it's Michael.
Michael did a great job of movements with his head based on your dialogue. Like, it looks like he's saying it.
This line was just in case somebody realized that John is actually in the desert fight scene.
Oh, that's right. Because some people, there's tons of people in the movie who were reused. Like, Blake was what, like a goon, like
I was a
5 times.
goon.
You were a goon. You were the most people. Michael fought himself a few times, I believe. So if they saw, a goon and recognize him as John, or the same person, we need to establish that it's accidental. It's not supposed to be the same person.
That was our way of writing him out of the movie.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Got screwed. Warcraft 3.
Warcraft 3, Wolf right
The
there.
first of many.
Yeah. But also, Wolf always howls when the sun or the moon comes up in Zelda, so
Yeah.
also a little nostalgic there. And nothing was shot at night, by the way.
Yeah, this is the middle of the
Everything
day.
is just a blue filter.
Oh.
Great shot.
This is probably my favorite Skull Kid scene.
Well, he's basically saying, I'm in charge now.
I knew you couldn't turn down that kind of power. You're a coward.
But you're a greedy coward. Oh, the whip drop.
What you gonna do?
I wouldn't try it if I
That's right.
I love Skull Kid. I like the no music actually really worked in this one too.
Yeah. It's when it's just quiet, you hear the crickets, you hear the wind. I really have to say, I think Nintendo would be impressed with the character of Skull Kid.
Title, it didn't. This movie didn't have a subtitle. It was sort of going to be the overarching Legend of Zelda, but we quickly realized that this really wasn't doing Zelda like all the justice necessary. This is almost a side story. This is not the story of Link, period. It's the story of our Link.
Yes.
And really, the difference is Skull Kid. And so that's one of the reasons we decided on the name Sage of Darkness for the subtitle.
I actually wish we just called it the Stage of Darkness, quite honestly.
Yeah, me too. But it was still pretty good.
It's good.
we need to redefine the nature of our relationship.
What, are they buying an apartment?
Until now, you've been under the illusion that you are my superior. That ended when you said
Yeah, Skull Kid doesn't like it when
beg for my help once more.
when Erdogan decides that
No.
he doesn't need him anymore,
Yeah.
especially because he's been calling the shots.
Yeah.
Mutual interest.
mutual interest. There's a little head nod there.
See, what's interesting is that a lot of people were frustrated. They said, "Oh, well, how is Davik in 2 places at once at this point?" But we were careful. By this point, Davik really being Skull Kid was Josh's idea from the very beginning, and in the first draft, and that was one of the things I had to work with. So I made sure he was never in 2 places at once.
And because a lot of people want to look back at the different parts of the DVD and see, is it possible for Davik to have been in that mask, traveling? And it is. I mean, he's in the training section. He says, "I've been doing some reconnaissance, sifting through information." He's been traveling. He's been going different places. It's possible for him to be both of the guys.
Yeah, even though he's not been at the castle.
Yes.
And there's actually a dropped line where Natalie says, "What, do you not know what to do now that your little skull friend's not around?"
That's right.
Speaking of which, where did he go?
That's right. We didn't use that one.
That ended up segueing into the flashback, but it was okay. I don't even think we recorded that line.
No, we didn't.
We forgot about it.
What is it? We're against moving its troops against Cat Creek with us.
So many people just don't get that it's
As we speak.
Davik.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, if you think about it and knowing it, it's like, oh, that's funny that he's there in the woods and then he's like, okay, here he comes.
Yeah, yeah. I was so afraid somebody was going to catch on to it, but they have no reason to. Different voice. You don't see the face.
Did I set it up?
What?
Did I drop a lot of red herrings? I don't think I did.
No, you didn't drop pretty much anything at all. But I would be looking at the parts where after the wedding, where he comes out the same door. Like in my mind, I'm thinking that's the exact same door at the church, but no one else knows that.
Yeah,
So
nobody else was at the church.
It doesn't look like it's possible.
This running scene was so much longer in the original.
Yeah, we had a lot of shots of them running, but it was too long. I think we all can say we take much pride in this scene.
Oh yeah, this was a really great scene.
I believe every shot of the scene was filmed maybe over 2 years.
At
Different
least
shots.
a year.
At least
we
a year.
started at August 2007, and we went back over the course of 2 days in December 2007, and then we touched it up 3 or 4 more shoots.
Yes.
Right before, in the last month or 2 before the release.
Like filler shots that are just a couple seconds long.
Yeah. This was one of the only fights that was actually choreographed beforehand.
That's right. I have worked on this choreography like a lot.
There's me as a goon. We call him Gangly Goon.
Or Spider Monkey.
Yeah, Spider Monkey.
Spider Monkey Goon. Yeah, I think this is the first day here.
Poor Josh Bagby. All he does is get killed in this movie.
Gets killed.
He's never even gets a hit on me. He's always just done. And a lot of people, I'm surprised nobody noticed that there were multiple sets of goons.
Yeah.
Depending on what day we were shooting, because it was, whatever guys could make it.
There's Josh Bagger right there. He gets taken out.
All the link grunts were put in post-production.
Yeah.
There's Kyron, back from the dead.
Kyron. And pretty much every goon's scream is a Warcraft 3.
Or me.
Or you. There's
All Michael's shots were done different days.
different day, yeah.
And oh man, that move I just did right there
The flying
killed
circus.
me. Hurt my knees for weeks. This scene, we actually filmed it in like slow motion and sped it up.
Yeah, I was gonna. Ooh, that's good.
You can check the bloopers for that
The
one.
the bloopers for the blood splatter hit was pretty funny.
Actually, when I was messing around when I was a goon, so I said vehicular manslaughter, but if you listen really close, you can still hear me saying it. Only it's much more distorted.
Yeah, yeah.
This one ended up being pretty cool. Tristan came back from the dead here. I don't know how his head got back on, but he was fighting with us. It stunk though because man, that my shirt never got clean again.
Yeah, we never washed your tunic or your shirt. Well, no, I washed your shirt once.
Yeah, but it was
yeah,
always stained.
I didn't give much work on it.
What I liked about this is that it was a very sort of mean kill by him.
Yeah, and I had
You
to
almost
get-
feel big. You almost feel sad for the big guy.
Well, I had to have Link doing that jump and
Yeah,
stab thing. You
but
know?
it was very sort of mean spirited in the way he does it.
Well, everything, like at first, you should think that Link is being the hero, you know, cool fight scenes and everything, but he's using this white sword, which ends up being the twin blade of, you know, Ganondorf's black sword. So you should start seeing Link's way of killing and way of fighting become more bloodlust, and, you know, as Davika trained him.
Here's the money shot.
Great, this is a great shot. Oh, this music from Gladiator and this shot were the first things I ever thought about before starting this movie. This shot and music inspired me to make the entire thing. Weird how that works. Didn't really do it justice though.
I thought it was great.
I wish I had a car dolly or something.
Yeah.
Oh, year afterwards, and then year before, like those two shots where he stabs Michael, or that was Michael.
Oh,
by
yeah.
the way. He stabs the goon. That's a year later. This is all Michael's hair is all messed up here.
Yeah, he had to get a haircut for school.
He cut his own hair. Did you know that?
It was really, it was kind of an interesting endeavor.
Ouch.
Brett's entire purpose right here was just to give him the stick. This was such a hard one to see film. John Summerford animated a sword for us. Too.
Yeah, it got kind of cropped out because it was too far off the side of the screen. A little gruesome throat slit.
That was my favorite. I really wanted that one to go in.
You almost cut his throat. Too.
I did almost cut his throat.
Ouch.
We wanted Erdogan to fight at least once.
Yeah,
But
originally
what's interesting is if you think about it, that could have been a farce.
They could have.
Shameless game reference.
Had to have that right there.
We had to have at least one, and that took John Summerford probably a year.
That was
or not a year, a couple months to do.
That was one of his most difficult animations.
Probably not, if not the most difficult.
Well, not the-
Erdogan's hand.
Erdogan's hand was also very difficult.
That guy was a trooper. His computer's like from 1987, and it takes it like 24 hours to render. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Here's Din's Fire. We sort of took a cop out here, but once again, just like the game.
Yeah. Would have loved to have that fiery orb around him, but don't really know how to do that.
Yeah.
So that was
well.
good as we could get it.
That's our shoestring budget. Man, we didn't even have a shoestring.
Connor's hair is like a mile long.
Yeah, Connor's hair is different, but whatever. And here's probably the best action scene in the whole movie. Well, if not that one. At least it's not as
Great shot of the transition.
grandiose.
Love that.
The wailing spear.
Yeah.
It's a weapon from a novel that I wrote that I invented, and so I had to make sure that it would actually work as a weapon. So I made it myself.
Great arrows by John.
Yep.
Look very real too. It really convinced the audience, that's for sure.
That was a good shot. Here comes Casual Goon.
Casual Goon. Blake Henderson, by the way.
Kyron once again back from the dead. This is what I call the Terminator 2 shot. You know, where Arnold walks through the hallway?
Yeah, that's right.
This one is actually a real arrow.
No,
I wanted to
not-
shoot it.
this
I
is
wanted
the
to
real
shoot
arrow.
it at least once.
That's a real arrow, and I assure you that's not right there.
Wait, you mean we didn't kill John?
We didn't actually shoot him in the back?
This one ended up, this is like the most tense guy coming up, and he gets totally taken out like a punk. This is great, even though I didn't have a sheath.
Yeah, great shot there.
Owned.
Ouch.
This was cool. Sped up like a million times.
Oh, yeah.
Wilhelm scream.
I had to have the Wilhelm scream.
In the original conception of this scene, there were supposed to be several Royal
several
Guards.
guards, like 2, 3.
And it was going to be almost like a riot scene where it would be goons and guards, like 2 or 3 at least. But John Darling had to pull out. Another one of our friends had to pull out just because they had obligations, and it was just it ended up being really hard. We just had to film it.
Yeah. I was really happy to be able to get my own sword moves in there, though.
If we aren't careful, this will all be for naught.
So what now? Are you wait? What are we doing as you come?
Zelda has taken care of that for us, haven't you, dear?
She's been contacted. What's to stop?
I don't really know why I made sure that she couldn't talk to him at the temple. I don't know. Anyway, it ends up helping with the sort of rift in time and space thing that we work with later.
Well, yeah,
which I hadn't come up with yet.
Because didn't we wanted her to be able to contact him so she could draw him into the trap.
Yeah, but we wanted to cut her off when she got there.
Yeah.
Don't worry. He's already here.
Here we go. This was funny because we had the most cinematographers. That was our friend John with the camera. That was Josh again.
Me right there. It's really difficult for me to give the camera to someone else because I'm so confident in my own camera skills. Like here, I'm viewing. Of course, I'm not because I'm on screen.
I think it's so funny that Josh has way more finesse than I do.
Hey,
show
I
off.
taught him everything he knows.
Then again, I don't have any finesse. I just get the thing from point A to
He's
point B.
okay. You probably
I'm much more like Soul Calibur Link than anything
You
else.
make a great
That-
goon, that's for sure. I don't know.
I do make a good goon. I love that scene where I just chuck the sword.
Just throw the sword away.
This one was a last minute thing because we hadn't used the bombs yet.
That's right. We didn't want to show the bombs in training, but not end up using them for anything. So we had to fit that in there.
Originally, we were going to blow up a door or something.
Yeah, it was going to be because the temple wasn't going to be ruins. It
Yeah.
was going to be the chapel. So the doors were going to blow up.
This was the absolute last scene we filmed.
Oh yeah.
Was just Josh here getting blown up.
The shot right here. This is the last shot of the entire
And listen,
shoot.
most people forget that there's an
There's
explosion,
an explosion
right
right there. Yeah.
there. But we wanted to make it faint so it wasn't obvious. But
yeah.
And this was just mercilessly trying to kill Aaron off.
There was no purpose,
There-
purpose for me to crawl on the wall right here.
It was actually kind of stupid if you've ever been to this park because he basically walked with his butt hanging right in front of Erdogan's face practically.
Great way to go down.
This
though.
that was the hardest thing to film. We went through like 80 takes and like a bunch of different tries.
We even tried a shot of The Departed, of body falling right behind Link.
Oh yeah.
It didn't really work, but it was funny.
This is a great scene. I love the sound effects on the white sword. Here's the money shot. You may call me the Sage of Darkness.
Perfect.
Let's see how well the gatekeeper has trained you.
Boy.
Without the whip sound effects, it would have been.
Yeah, the whip sound effects really helped this.
Yeah.
Thing. This is another one of those days that we thought were terrible.
We were rushed.
We were
and-
rushed. It was freezing. Natalie, every time she wasn't on camera, was wearing our friend Brett, one of the goons. He was wearing his jacket.
Yeah, I think it started sprinkling.
It started sprinkling. We were all hungry. There was like a dance troupe or something that was there.
Yeah.
Annoying. And what's interesting is the last thing we filmed here was the fight between me and Michael.
And when you guys wrestle on the ground.
When we wrestled on the ground, it was literally one take.
That's right, because I had.
We were just running out of sunlight.
The sunlight was going out, and battery was out. I don't have a second battery. So here's the shot right here. This is just all one take. And I said, all right, guys, you're just gonna wrestle, and I want Link to end up being on top and about to take off the mask. And so they went at it, and 30 seconds later, I was satisfied, and that was it.
I really wanted Link to just get savage in this scene. I wanted him to I wanted blood coming out of everybody's mouth, and I wanted him to just beat him senseless because I wanted to show how far he had gone.
Ouch.
That one's the key. Post-production on the fire was great.
Fire looks pretty good. And what?
Notice my My hat has fallen off in this scene.
Hat's falling off. That's right.
What were you saying?
As we were still running out of sunlight and battery, we took off the mask there. I was not expecting Michael to be smiling, and I actually I turned down the volume in the actual cut. I was laughing, and I was like, "Seriously, dude?" Oh, right there we have a transition from Dan's.
Yeah, that was.
Dan's
We
voice.
thought about that in the last couple hours before we premiered the thing.
But the Michael actually, I believe the Dark Knight was coming out soon.
Oh yeah, the Joker.
And Michael started basing off his character, transforming it sort of off of Heath Ledger's Joker. And it's way too complicated for me to go into, but I'm sure Dan will expand on it later. But Davik's character overall is incredibly
Multi-layered. There's our Temple of Time.
There we go.
In case anybody forgot this was a Zelda movie, this is where we remind
This is where it is. And the one piece of darkness in this place.
Notice at this point I've already put my hat back on.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you probably didn't even notice.
Didn't even notice how it happened.
But I did put it on.
Really wanted to have some strong winds going on here, but couldn't get the leaf blower out there.
But his I love the eyes.
The eyes are great. John Summerford, everybody, once again.
Well, it does look like it's blowing though.
Yeah, we had a little bit of natural wind, but I was thinking like Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, well. This part is creepy.
This is for Kyron!
The music here is everything.
Music is great.
We're just shamelessly plugging our own movie. I love his look on his face, though. That I think this is probably Connor's best scene.
Oh, the white blade. You lust for power.
It's kind of bummed that we had to have this night filter on because it took away the redness of that blood, and it looked really good, so I wanted to keep it.
They're the ancient blades of Ganon.
It's over, farm boy. No more games. Now you're done.
What? You know, I was kind of confused here, actually, myself, after I watched it a few times, where Zelda says he's now the spirit of Ganon. Now,
It's
is he actually possessed by Ganon, or is he possessed by his power?
he's possessed by his spirit at this point.
But
It
he's
was sort of
still-
like his spirit incarnate.
But he's still consciously Erdogan.
Yes. He's sort of carrying Ganon with him.
That's right.
It was a little hard because we were sort of like, okay, how does this work? I don't know. We put some words together that
We just
sounded
kind of
cool.
yeah.
He ceased to be Erdogan. He is now the spirit of Ganon.
Right there.
Then how do I beat him?
No mortal blade can
This was a really
but there is a
tricky
legend blade that can.
What?
scene because
Link, I'm
it
sorry
it was
for-
so hard
I'm
because
sorry for all the things that have happened.
Zelda is sort of just holding this up in her imagination.
Yeah.
And so we had to do some kind of physical representation of that. And so that's why Josh put that
Came
purple
the
stuff.
wavy force field thing going on.
And once again, the music saves the day.
Yeah.
Saves by the bell here.
I didn't know how to do it, but I wanted her hand, or Dan wanted her hands to be kind of moving and have sort of a Susan Storm force field kind of thing coming off her hands. But I didn't really know how to do that. But I think we got the point across, right?
This scene is basically where I tie up everything.
Longest,
And it was kind of sloppy on my part.
longest scene
But I
for a
think it
talking
worked.
scene. Flashbacks help. Music helps a lot. But it really, we cram in a lot of information in 10, 12 minutes.
Are you serious? There's 45 minutes after this movie's over? Or after this scene?
Oh, what?
There's 45 minutes left after that. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow. This is a long movie.
This is a long movie.
Yeah, we're at an hour 30 right now.
I thought this was the very end of the movie.
You have Zelda to thank for that. I found you on your father's.
Oh, and
Well, this was the baseball game.
We had the baseball game going on here. We had a tap dancing lesson in a room near our place. I don't know what else we had. We just had people walking around.
Here is the scene that we actually lost. We filmed it, but we couldn't find the footage.
That's right. When he talks about Davik
Yeah.
almost killing him, we had it.
We had a shot of Davik coming in and sort of dropping the whip and him getting up to defend himself. And basically the idea is that they had a fight while Link was fighting the goons at his farm. That was lost on a few audience members, but that's all right. I was so impressed with my dad here.
He did great.
I think this is one of my better acting days too, just because I was at least in character.
Yeah.
Me and my dad really started playing on each other because we did it like a play. Because he's old school, he can't just read the line and do it.
Yeah, we didn't like about 90% of the movie was filmed with read this line off the script. All right, action. All right, cut. Let's do another line. Mr. Hogan would memorize a paragraph, and we just go through entire take. It was great. Very, very helpful on my part to edit.
Part of a solution so you wouldn't have to memorize too much was... I'm purposefully holding this pause.
Okay. Except
This is a longer take than I thought.
You know, they won't be able to hear this that well.
Anyway, this scene, this part right here, is the what we did so that while my dad is rambling on for hours, they had something else to watch other than him sitting there talking.
Yeah, yeah.
And that way he wouldn't have to memorize the lines.
So this wasn't originally the idea of what we would be seeing in the storyboards, but he's talking about the sages, and we see, the sages and that one sage we saw in the beginning of the movie, so it matches. And also, if you listen closely, we fit in all the...
almost all of them, anyway.
Almost all of the sage themes, music themes.
Yeah, the Sage of Light and the Sage of Darkness. I thought that it worked. It should have been the Shadow Sage, but you know what? I don't care.
It's Shadow Sage, but...
If I cared about that stuff, then, I don't know, maybe the people on YouTube would be more happy with me.
It's the transition from video game to movie. You gotta be at liberty with a few things.
These were awesome scenes. Josh, why don't you describe them?
The bear back with Michael's muscular back there. These scenes were done, I believe...
Just for the trailer.
Just for the trailer. Like, this one is a shot when he was talking to Erdogan earlier, but one where he whips the whip at the camera and everything, that was for the trailer. All the stuff with his back, that was all for the trailer, but we put them together to show, as through narration, as the Sage of Darkness is suiting up with his whip. Kind of came from the Witch King from Return of the King. Just not as cool, of course, but same basic idea.
I think the shirt was cool.
The shirt thing was cool.
This is where we get into a little bit more of the backstory. And this is where some people got confused, but I think it worked. They sort of got the idea.
It worked. I mean, we had to explain to people who don't know about it and also try to stay true to the original stuff so the fans would be pleased.
Yeah, it was kind of difficult.
Overall,
I feel like a total jerk in the sense that it's like I basically took a lot of artistic liberty with the movie, but you know what?
You have to do it.
So do the other games. Like Twilight Princess is nothing like the other games.
Yeah.
These flashbacks were my brainchild, and I was really interested in doing them, but we weren't sure if we were going to have time to do them.
Yeah, there was a time where we didn't know if we were going to do them or not.
But I found that it was going to be just... Once I looked at how long my dad was talking, I knew we would need him.
Yeah. And they're great, too.
Yeah. Garrett and Kim, both of them were my first choices for the role. Because Garrett was originally going to be Dark Link when we didn't know if we were going to do green screen or not.
That's right.
We didn't know if we would have to have another character. But we ended up using Garrett as my father here, so it ended up working. Mm-hmm. We loved the chance to use him. Plus, they're both stage people, so they were ready for the kids.
Yeah, that's right. I wasn't ready for it. Michael had long enough hair to have a little ponytail.
Yeah, he looks a lot younger.
Looks a lot younger, which is good.
I like the black and the white.
Yeah, clearly,
Sage of Shadow and Light Sage there.
Blade of evil. He was already laying the seeds of your father's destruction. There was one thing which Davik did not expect.
Oh, Kim was so good. She borrowed that dress from her friends they used it at a Renaissance fair.
All of our resources are like right off the. I mean, we had nothing planned.
He was training your father, and that is where the trap.
Those flasks tasted gross.
They taste like camel skin.
They're very
wanted
cute.
to marry,
Oh.
but Davik
So funny. Josh just did not want them to kiss. But they were okay with it. They were like, yeah, we can do it. And Josh was like, no, don't. And I was like, do it.
I was just holding that camera, not knowing what to do, and I just.
It looked bad.
Dan had to yell the action because I was laughing so hard.
You'd have to know them to
Yeah.
understand why it was so funny. That scene was just awkward.
That scene was awkward because I said, hey, in this shot, guys, in the edit, there'll be narration. We're not going to hear anything. But they were silent acting. So Mr. Hogan would come up and kind of like pretend to be talking but not say anything, and it'd be all quiet. I said, no, guys, I'll take off the sound. You can act. You can say stuff.
I loved that scene.
The transition with
The transition with the time going by and he hasn't gotten over it.
Yeah.
neglected his duties as the hero.
There's a lot of sort of symbolism in this scene.
Finally,
Like for instance, he runs off.
abandoned everything to hunt death. Never saw him again.
Yeah, this
It's
story
his leaving the hat and the tunic and the shield. It sort of seems a little bit like
abandoning his
his duty,
His
but
duty.
also it leaves the tunic to be used by Link.
by the next Link.
Well, when he says, "Is that Dad's uniform?"
Yeah. Around this area in the scene, this is where the music gets pretty emotional.
This without the music, this scene just dragged and dragged
Yeah.
and dragged. Honestly, the better than any acting or special effects, the music saved this movie. And Josh, probably not the one people don't think about a lot in terms of what went into the movie. The arranged score was one of the most important parts, and I think we've said that about like 17,000 times in this this commentary.
Yeah. I mean, this is all I listen to. I listen to soundtracks and I get ideas for movies. What started the idea of this movie was, one, I found the Hyrule Symphony music, which made it possible to make a movie without the stupid, Nintendo themes that were all digital. And then I found the Master Sword on eBay, which
Yeah.
made me start thinking it's possible.
This was all one take.
Yeah. I love one takes.
What is it? Link? Are you listening? Tell me!
Link's a little pissed off.
Link's a lot pissed off.
Great line here.
Yeah. We really did pull in the chops here. Even though we're not the greatest actors, we're not professionals, but we were giving it everything we had in this scene.
This is good. It's passionately said. To protect.
Sacrifice. That's the
Great.
way. My dad's a little out of breath. Originally he was going to be injured from the fight with Davik.
That's right. He's got
But
bandages.
you can
and
sort of
stuff.
tell that he's kind of tired.
Yeah.
Just tell me what it is and where I can find it.
See, with Link here, he's mad, but he still wants to be dutiful.
Yes.
But he is letting his anger get into it. There we go.
There it is.
And all the people on YouTube who complain that I didn't use the Master Sword, the whole point is we wanted to build it up that it was awesome.
Yes. Everybody thinks that, we're using a Chinese katana. Well, yeah, technically we are, but that's the white sword. It's a real sword from the games.
I actually followed the same sword progression as Northeast. It's actually Northwest.
It's the northwest where the Master Sword is located.
Yeah, but anyway, I followed the same sword progression: the wooden sword, and then the white sword, and then the magic sword, which some translations list as the Master Sword from the original
Yes.
Zelda.
Yeah.
So I think it works.
Oh, a little note about 30 seconds back where Link says, where is it? You hear the Skull Kid kind of
Where?
growl in his voice, kind of, he's
I'm almost like Christian Bale. I kind of slip in and out of voices.
Yeah.
Take this.
Pretty crappy shield, but you know what?
It worked until it got stolen.
The design itself is like missing the Hawk's like head. Whatever.
Please.
Now the shield ends up being a symbol of sort of the sacrifice,
Yes.
the protecting.
Yes.
When I return, you'll have it. She was in here.
There is no safer place.
My dad was good here.
Ooh.
Ouch.
Dis.
Total diss, but I came up with that one like last minute.
Yeah.
I think it was something somebody said something like, "Wow, that's what he thought about Gyron," and I just put it in.
His destiny is in his own hands.
I think even though it's long, this really worked to set up
Without that
the
choice,
Link was about to change in this section.
Yes.
And here's the money shot. This is everybody's favorite scene.
This
Which
is-
is funny because this one almost didn't happen.
This one almost didn't happen, which I was very, very nervous about.
We really wanted to do a dungeon, and we wanted to do a boss fight.
We had to have a boss fight, which ended up being Ganondorf, the big boss, final boss. But we had to have like a mid boss.
We wanted to have like he has to go on a quest. you know?
Yeah. Like we don't have Queen Goma or all
The
that
Dongo
stuff, the
Tavern.
Dongo, but we have Dark Link, which is the coolest of all.
We figured, we can do the forest. He doesn't have to be underground or anything.
Another thing about this, the way we distorted who Dark Link is, I don't think Dan, you know more about it than I do, but there isn't really any backstory with Dark Link. So-
back the story. By the time I got here, once I had written the family backstory, I wrote in that it was Link's father.
Okay.
By the time we filmed the scene, we knew it was going to be Link's
Yeah,
father.
and it works because in my mind I was thinking, okay, this is going to be sort of like Luke Skywalker fighting himself in the Darth Vader helmet, or
Which it sort of was.
which it sort of is, and I want it to be like his opposite, like Venom or something. Like the evil side of him is coming into a figure to fight him, but it worked better and it was more emotional, and you get attached to it that he's fighting his father, and he doesn't find out till the end.
Once again, totally plagiarized.
Yeah.
Not really, but I sort of took the idea from Final Fantasy IV, where Cecil goes to the top of the mountain and fights the ghost of his father.
There you go.
But then again, ghosts and fathers go all the way back to Shakespeare, so
There you go.
suck on that.
they killed my family.
A lot of these shots making Dark Link were actually blindly shot, as in we really didn't know how it was going to turn out. We had never tried something like this before, especially him standing on the sword, which could have looked better. But
Whatever, it was from the game.
yeah, we weren't really sure exactly how this was going to work, so we kind of took a leap in testing it out.
The green screen worked, though.
Yeah. Every shot, with the panning of him running by, that's kind of filler to kind of connect to the next shot, but it makes you feel overwhelmed, like he's everywhere.
Stop saying that.
What's funny is I only ran by the camera like twice and used it like 15
We
times.
used it a whole bunch of times. Yeah.
That was a really cool shot. I don't even remember how we did that.
You just stood. I think of that in the most extreme angle on the green screen. You stood up. There you go.
I have all these things. You do not use. You must be vanquished. Coward. Not a coward. And yet you believe death.
The Dark Link here was almost he was a sort of a
Killed my brother.
purifying villain.
Yeah.
Here, the music, we've said that so many times.
Yes, the music. We're always gonna mention the music, but I think out of the entire movie, this is probably the best use of. It's not even upbeat action. It's just emotional. It's like, it's sad, but
It matches with the flashback too. What is it, like Gladiator? I think it's Gladiator.
This is it's a great emotional switch up here, because we go from like, oh, what's happening? Link's pissed, to like, whoa, he gets the point. And we figured rather than having Dark Link just say, "Turn from your ways," we just watch the consequences.
What happened? My hand, by the way.
Yeah, it's his hand, because we decided to write in
How Michael lost his hand.
Yeah.
Or Devik.
This was great trooper work on Garrett's part.
Flop the shot, so we had Garrett left-handed. Oof.
But he was right in that one.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat here.
Yeah, we call it Mortal Kombat.
This, okay. When you see Devik with his hands, didn't give him any direction for this, any specific direction. He kind of touched his face and wiped blood all over his face on his own. And I thought it was way too much at first, but, you know, we kept it and showed his...
There it goes.
Just great
So
scene.
sad, but notice Michael has even less clothing, and it just adds to his sort of beastly, savage self.
I mean, he just grabbed the sword with...
He just grabbed a sword
long
with...
hands.
Yeah, with a stump. He doesn't even need to realize... He just knows he's wrong.
What do I need to pull the blade?
Here, the shield and the sword, they sort of represent his hatred versus his duty.
Yeah.
His revenge versus duty.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Link, at the heart of it, he really is good.
Yeah. I mean, he has good intentions distorted by revenge. And...
Yeah, he says, I want to make it right. I want to make it right.
And I love how he found out that this sword was Ganon's, like, twin, evil sword.
And he didn't put it down.
He still has it.
And we didn't want to make a big deal about it like the Lord of the Rings, but if you stop and think about it for a little bit, and here he passes the test.
And that's an illusion, by the way. If anybody's wondering how he survived, he didn't actually get stabbed.
He got stabbed by a shadow.
Yeah.
There it goes. The crowd was ready to cheer for this one.
Oh, yeah. Gosh, the sound of a crowd cheering on these parts is just music to my ears.
This is why he doesn't use the Master Sword the whole movie.
Because the Master Sword is a very unstable, about to break sword.
And it was just too heavy.
It was heavy for one-handed.
And its own weight would make it sort of jiggle.
Yeah. I mean, the white sword had a screw in the bottom so we could tighten it. This one, we thought it was going to break at any moment.
And I did not spin that.
And that was sped up, like, a lot. And it would have fallen apart if he did that.
Dude, why are you telling me everything's sped up? I feel so emasculated.
Not everything, but a lot of it was.
Dan actually sucked. We sped up his entire scenes.
I did not.
In fact, we even redid his acting.
I didn't speed everything up.
This one is just the money scene in the whole movie.
Pretty good.
John Summerford spent months on that.
Yeah,
and notice even the little idiosyncrasy there, where there's almost two hands there.
Yeah.
The digital one
It's like
and the
Ganondorf's hand
real one.
coming
It's
out.
almost like Ganondorf escaping from Erdogan's body. I saw this scene without music for the first time, and I thought it was really lame. Like, I was like, okay.
Again, the music makes it...
Again, the music is this scene.
Yeah.
Once again, this is also one of Connor's best parts.
Yes. This was... we call this Connor's a Dragon Ball Z part.
Yeah,
Where he,
yeah.
looks at the sky and yells.
Why don't you tell him about Michael
Oh, what?
in this scene? What was he supposed to do originally?
Oh, yes. Well, I don't know if this is what you're talking about, but originally he was going to... Connor was going to grab onto Michael and see, what's happening to me. And then Michael was going to look down at Connor's chest and see light emerging from his chest and realize this guy's about to, like, blow up with Ganondorf's fiery spirit coming out of him. So he shoves him away, and as he shoves Connor away, he bursts into flame. So it didn't really work, so it looks like he's just being a punk.
and just.
But I think it really speaks about Michael's character is that
I'm in control.
he is so done with Erdogan's crap
Yeah.
that he just looks at him and he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you were getting.
And great little, hear Ganondorf's laugh in the fire. This, the idea of Ganondorf, his like spirit and being inside Connor, and then, transforming him like that. That actually, the idea of that came from Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Sephiroth, coming out of that one dude. I don't know what his name was, but
Nobody liked him.
No one really liked him. But the concept idea of him awakening out of someone else's body, that's where it came from.
It's a shame.
Not to mention the fact that we knew that we wouldn't be able to get a Ganondorf for a long shoot, so we had to have some other villain.
Yeah, didn't we have like 3 days, a 3-day weekend?
We had we shot with Nick about 5 days.
That's right. We had a 3-day weekend, and then we had like a month earlier. We had a little bit of time.
This scene was a lot better in my head, but I still think they pulled it off.
It's okay. It gets by.
But Ganon doesn't really screw around. He kind of gets to the point.
He gets to the point. I love Ganondorf's sense of respect and like to the whole cycle. Like he's not a dick about it. He'll actually kind of with etiquette.
But why didn't you hide it from me?
Well, he's sort of been around this block for a while.
Yeah, he's not new to this.
You would have found her wherever I could have gone. I know you can get her power.
Yes. Now give her to me.
There were some extra lines here that we got rid of.
That's right. I forgot why.
We got rid of them just because the way they worked was sort of lame.
Did you know that you will die?
And if anyone's wondering, that staff of the Elder is not a replica of Gandalf's staff.
I found that at a bounce house event in 2005, and I said I'm gonna save that, and I saved it, and I didn't even get a chance to.
It was great.
Originally, I had an idea of flame and light flashing as Link runs up, but
Yeah.
it just
I didn't know.
of all the things we had to worry about, that was the last on our list.
Yeah.
It's you, isn't it?
Where's Erdogan? The boy is dead. And I am all that is left.
Well, it ends here,
This is
Dan.
Mafia gaming. That's like the 18th time I've said that line.
Well, it ends here. It ends here, Erdogan.
It ends here, Erdogan. It ends here, Erdogan. It ends here, Ganon.
I think
It
there's
ends
four.
here,
There's
Ganon.
4 times I think you said it.
It's terrible. Once again, gone. Took Natalie. Originally, we had Michael come up behind with the white sword,
That's right.
and that was where he sent Michael.
And there was a shot with I believe there's a shot where Dan held I don't know what, I think you were holding your hat in his arm and had a shadow approach the white sword left
Oh, we just
behind
had to get rid of that.
at the site.
Didn't
It
make
just
sense.
didn't work. It didn't fit.
How do I stop him?
My dad did a pretty good job dying.
And a lot of people think that the blood on his forehead is an E standing for elder. That was not our intention. It's just dropping 3.
Now
drips.
he mentions Mudora. I put that in there absolutely the last second.
What now? Have you written anything about Mudora?
I
or was
had
that,
not written anything
That's
about the
right.
Book of Mudora until the end because I could not think of anything else for Natalie to do
That's right.
during the
The
fight.
whole Mudora thing was just something that is thrown in this day. And
We had to sort of retroactively lead up to it. So not many people picked up on it, but it was okay.
I have served your patience.
This was tricky because the sanctuary was like set up for an event,
Yeah.
and so we had to get rid of
We had drum sets and keyboards.
It was ridiculous.
Luckily, all of them were black, so darkening these shots kind of hid them.
There's the money shot. One of many.
Welcome to my...
Oh, another note on the screen shot. Since it was in my school,
We couldn't bring the sword.
couldn't bring the sword in. It was a weapon. So
I made a cardboard cutout of the hilt and then put it in the sheath. So you can probably tell if you look closely, but it worked.
Last minute ad lib.
Everything has to end sometime.
I have indeed put it to an end.
Plot device, Mr. Frodo. Plot device.
And you too, David, since you are so interested.
I liked how he carries around the skull mask.
Yeah, it was more because it's not a helmet per se; it's just a mask. So we had him kind of hold it in like under his arm like a helmet.
Yeah, it worked though
It
because
looks a lot better.
Chosen of wisdom that she is. There were 6 sages, 6 families. Fire, forest, water, spirit, and now light.
No, he doesn't actually list all 6 right there. I think he's saving
yeah, we saved Shadow.
saves that for later.
Well, because the thing is, we ended up making Davik a Sheikah warrior.
That's right.
So we sort of like grafted it into to the Shadow, but whatever.
Yeah.
Originally it was like, ooh, he's a dark sage.
Well, the Legend of Zelda, the Sage of Shadow, is just not as cool as the Sage of Darkness. It's just the way it works. And it has a double meaning. You know, the Sage of Darkness is in the Shadow Darkness, same thing. But also the dark, like the evil one, the
Yeah.
first sage that's evil and not doing what he should be doing.
It took me the hardest thing. The reason I didn't complete the script for so long, it took me over a year to write the script. The reason I didn't do it was because I didn't know why Ganon thought he could win.
Yeah, to figure that one out.
And so I had to piece that together with the sages that, what makes this time different. The reason they talk about that is because I didn't know. And I wanted to make sure that he had a plan, which he did. But we were able to bring Link and his parents and Davik into it so well that I thought it worked awesome.
Yeah.
I don't even remember how I did it. It was inspired. The muse descended on me, the Holy Spirit. I don't know. Maybe I was just bored during a shifts at Knots.
Nick really pulls that Ganon off really well. That was one of the characters I was worried would not do justice. These things taste terrible.
Yeah, Michael did a good job dying. See, when we were casting Nick, we didn't know who. Originally, Connor was going to play Ganondorf, and I vetoed that about instantly.
The worst idea I ever had. Sorry.
I mean,
No offense, Connor.
He had the face for it, but he just doesn't have the build, especially considering me as Link.
Yes.
But
Strong words for a fool who's about to die.
rather than going for the complexion, for trying to get like an African American to play him, we decided to just go for somebody big and imposing, and so we picked Nick, who was our one of our youth pastors.
That's right.
And had him grow his beard out and whatnot. And he's trained in theater, but he'd never played the game and he had no idea who the character was.
That's right. He did a great job for not having much studied his
And
character.
his voice isn't deep at all. So here's the fight.
Now, figuring out how to do this scene with fireballs, I had some visual effects in my programs I had on my computer, but there was no way I was gonna be able. There were 2D effects. No way I was gonna be able to make this look cool. So this is actually the reason why I asked John Summerford to come aboard and help us out. He worked, I'm sure, on this whole section, probably a good couple months with the little time he had. I mean, you have to realize we all are students in school and don't have the time to make a feature-length movie. So he did a great job with these fireballs. I mixed him with some of my own effects, but hey, they look great. I was really surprised when he gave me the first batch of them. I think he gave me the shot where Link was ricocheting the fireballs off his sword. It looked
Shameless game reference.
Oh yeah, it was just really, really, really excited about that. Had to get the fireball tennis in there. I mean, It brings me back old memories of Ocarina. And this is where you made a decision to make Link a sage, right?
Yep, I decided to make Link a sage, and I remember the night I wrote that, I was just like walking around in my backyard, no, my front yard, walking up the street at like 2 in the morning talking to Josh about the story. I didn't sleep all night.
And again, one of our liberties, but it works.
I love this shot. I told Josh to get it because he was across the sanctuary from me under the seats.
That's right.
Here he comes.
I have a question. How do I see him?
Once again, in case you forgot, and there you go. Here's Wind Waker right here.
Wind Waker, double sword popping out there. Great shot.
Took so long to do that.
Yeah, it did.
Did you use a tripod?
No, that was the problem. I didn't have a tripod, so I had to hold that thing as still as possible.
Such a pain.
It was.
I was squinting and I don't remember why.
Yeah, it's kind of an Asian Link there, but
I'll get the book.
I like that line.
you were in the moment.
A sage you may be, but I've killed sages.
I like this line too.
I've killed sages before.
I wish we had more time to sword fight.
Didn't get enough of it. I wanted some, swords clashing a lot more than we got them. That was really cool.
We lost the sword, the shield that got stolen.
Lost the shield at the Hillcrest Park. Left it there on accident, and
That was supposed to shatter, but
yes. John Summerford did a great job of what he could do, but
it just was impossible.
shattering was not something we could do.
You don't even know the incantation to banish you, do you? Fool! The book has been lost for centuries.
You scares me.
The only way the spell is passed down is from sage to sage. I guess your mother failed to tell you that. Try as you will. But remember, boy, I've been doing this much longer than you.
I came up with this scene right on the set. I actually came up with it in the bathroom like the day before. And I was thinking, man, it would be great if we could do something like this, just to give Natalie something, so she could actually fight, not just use her wits.
Yeah.
And then right before we were ready to leave, I said, you know what, let's do it.
Let's just do it. We're outside. Let's go.
And once again, I reprised my role as Lumpy.
Lumpy gets taken out.
By a girl, no less. Matrix style. The coolest scenes, the coolest moves are in this one though.
Yeah.
Even though it's only 30 seconds long.
It's not that long, but it's pretty cool.
Grom Hellscream there from Warcraft 3.
Yeah.
Once again, the initial draft just had Natalie going to the temple, it sort of warping and seeing the book there, and she was leaving. But it just didn't make sense.
You had to explain it.
We had to explain it, and so once again, in the bathroom, came up with this a week before. Cast my brother as the sage. And we used the newly renovated chapel.
This is the chapel we were originally going to make the Temple of Time, and which it is the Temple of Time, but it's in the past and it looks different. And it's actually built. And the current Temple of Time is supposed to be the Hillcrest Park, ruins.
It was funny though, because my brother lived across the street from the church, and I had to go wake him up.
That's right.
And he sort of crawled out into there, put on the robe, but he did well because he had memorized his lines.
That's fair.
He was so stoked to be in the movie.
I love his acting in this.
He looks like he's enjoying it.
Yeah, and he's enjoying his own knowledge of all this cycle stuff, and
We have defeated it. In our time, that is.
It goes a little long, but I liked it.
Yeah, yeah.
And because this movie is about the sages, I felt it was important to give him the lines that says, you know, you're lucky to have the sages. Because
Without us, Ganon would never have been.
yeah, because this is these they're the often forgotten members of the cycle of eternity.
That's right.
Plot device, Mr. Frodo. Plot device.
Within these walls, time and space converge.
Great writing in the scene, by the way, Dan.
Thank you, Josh.
Great way to explain it.
Who said that he ate a rice cake?
Sorry about something.
So yeah, here it was a little bit complicated, but we had to do something to explain why the Book of Eudora was so important.
I actually had no idea what the Book of Eudora was.
It's a nod from Link to the Past. What it actually did is it allowed you to translate tablets on the wall, but you got it one of the first. It was one of the first items you get in that game.
Okay.
Link to the Past, I think, is the most referenced game, other than Ocarina of Time.
Well, does Ocarina of Time take a lot of things from Link to the Past? Or is it kind of new in itself?
It uses a lot of things that were introduced by Link to the Past.
Okay. Because as much as I might be creative side on this movie, I have no knowledge compared to Dan about the origins of Legend of Zelda and the new stuff. The earliest game I ever played was Ocarina, so.
Now, you might be wondering why Link has survived this far. Written into the story was when Zelda and Erdogan got increased powers.
How many of your loved ones?
Link ended up getting increased powers too, but we didn't really talk about it.
Yes.
Well,
Endurance.
This was a great edit.
Love this. Again,
Poor little Kyron.
when Kyron shows there, I was just like, oh. Music inspired, once again. X-Men 3.
We were originally not going to use X-Men 3, but we couldn't see it any other way.
It matched too well. We were going to use an orchestral piece from Legend of Zelda, but
It just didn't work.
it didn't work. This is just so intense.
There he goes with that shining
Little
Triforce.
triangles. Again, I would like to have some leaf blower on his clothes, but it didn't happen.
It's alright.
Can't really tell. It's so intense looking.
Which is so funny because all this was just laid on after, and that was all just me sort of trying to squirm.
Yeah.
These were the prototype special effects, and they
Yeah.
ended up keeping because they looked good.
Yeah.
In our opinion, anyway. All these special effects are amateur, but these ones of the fire, I thought were the best that Summerford did.
Yeah. It took the longest to render too.
It took him like 48 hours.
Again, not the best way to end it, but it works.
We could have had a few more blows, but it was all right.
Yeah.
Once again, establishing the cycle.
Yeah.
Nice one for Link.
Zelda, what do I need to say?
Once again, dutiful Link.
This didn't really want to be speaking,
Mumbo jumbo.
mumbo-jumbo.
Incantations, because we are in a church, we are Christians.
Yes.
And so for a totally pagan Japanese mythology game, what we were reading here is out of the Book of Revelation, where Satan is sealed away into the lake of fire by the angel.
And which perfectly matches what's going on here.
And then the quick denouement.
And originally, I actually wanted to have Erdogan's body, just like Sephiroth in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. I wanted Erdogan's body to be lying there, but he couldn't get there. I totally forgot about it, and it didn't matter.
I think it was better without it because we were sort of beyond Erdogan at that point.
Yeah, that's true.
I liked Erdogan. I don't think the movie would have been the same without him.
It gives a different feel.
That was the most awkward hug in the world.
It was kind of awkward.
wait, there's more.
Dom. This, though it seems kind of rushed, what it really is the fact that what does Link do after he defeats Ganon?
In every game, the game ends, and the credits could start rolling when you beat Ganondorf.
And we never hear from Link again.
There's always a new Link, so what happens to him?
And so we decided, you know what? We'll have him run off. Here, not a lot of people get it, but here she's taking the book back. Presumably, just like Sage of Light did for her, this is whoever's in the future.
She's in the future. She's in the past, right? Well,
She's in the present, and somebody in the future, comes and she's going to pass the book on.
So that could be the next Zelda. It could be a
next Sage, next Link. Who knows?
It could be someone who needs it, and they're trying to defeat Ganondorf in the future.
This was going to be on a horse, but we didn't have
It was
time.
going to be an intense ending, riding out in the sunset. Little trip there. But it works.
I walked through so many brambles, dude.
Those boots, those half chaps.
You could walk through everything, but dude, they were poking my legs, man. I was so PO'd. Once Jack Curran did that one too.
Jack Curran had the animated wall there. Used that a couple times. So what do we talk about now?
I don't know. That was the movie.
We gotta talk to the end, dude.
But it was, yeah, that guy's awesome. Basically, yeah, please don't sue us. Please don't sue us. We didn't make any profit.
Based off the game, not of. Nothing in this movie, ladies and gentlemen, is supposed to be based on any certain game. It's our own original idea. That's why everything's different. Don't be picky little jerks about it.
I'm still going to say don't sue us.
Yeah, it would be nice.
This was a labor of love. You can have it.
We actually...
We don't really care. We just don't want to die.
We actually ended up paying like $500 in order to show people this. So we're not making any money whatsoever. We're losing money.
Yeah, lost.
Lost.
But the thing is, what we really gained is the experience.
Exactly. And you know what? I love the satisfaction of pleasing the audience.
We learned so many things about writing, about working with people that you're getting pissed at. We learned about sort of how to tiptoe around people's feelings and work on a tight schedule. It was really an experience.
Definitely not the way I'll make feature length movies again.
And it's already the way we have made projects since then, and we've done things totally differently.
Yeah.
But so many things that we learned here, we'll have to. It was great.
Yeah.
All the people made fun of the fact that it was basically me and Josh throughout the entire
you keep
credits.
on seeing Josh Dixon.
Well,
Dan Hogan,
because the
Josh
thing
Dixon.
is, it was. I'm going to do a shameless, selfish plug here, but
Go for
the
it.
best thing that Josh did was cast me, because it really was a tag team effort. I mean, through hundreds and hundreds of editing hours and technical stuff, Josh, this would have never have been, slapped together if it weren't for Josh. But it never would have. It never would have gotten the ball rolling without
It
me.
would never have gotten rolling without Dan. It would never have stayed true to Zelda nearly as much without Dan. Like, I had a vision for it, but I don't have nearly as much knowledge in the world of Legend of Zelda than Dan does.
But you know what? We really did play to each other's our flaws and our strengths. Josh the music. I would never be able to do that.
I will say I'm impressed with the music.
It's because like 700 Academy Award winners composed
there's a
it.
lot.
But you did a great job editing to it. The editing was great. I think though it's not his favorite, I think Josh is most talented as an editor. Because there's so many things, people making people look so good.
People look so good. That's right.
That's what he did.
I won't say I don't like
Additional
editing.
sounds. Dan Hogan.
Dan Hogan, additional goon sounds there, and more than just goon sounds. I think
More than goon sounds. I just did all sorts of
we
crap.
just did different stuff. But
Yeah, this will be on for about 14 minutes.
This is the music right here. Stuff from Soul Calibur, from Zelda. I think there online there's a group, independent group called ZREO, Zelda Reorchestrated. They did that music you're hearing, and this too. I don't know if you can hear it on the audio commentary or not, but most of the Legend of Zelda music we used is is reorchestrated by this group. Tried to email them to get some more information on them, but never got back to me. So
Whatever.
big thanks to Jack Curran.
Jack Curran, we wouldn't have been able to do it without him.
John
John
Summerford.
Summerford, what a
Yeah.
guy.
Special thanks to all the cities.
All the cities that we sort of play, we ruined historical landmarks, etc. La Parca for using his mask for the
His
Sage of
mask.
Darkness. Anybody who's from Mexico would know. And, of course, Jesus Christ, whom we would not be making movies without.
Thanks you for watching. I am Josh Dixon, director of Sage of Darkness.
And I'm Dan Hogan, everything else of the Sage of Darkness. Good night.